Standing by with the Qatari Foreign Minister. Anne-Marie, take it away.
Thank you so much, Taylor, and thank you so much, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, for joining Bloomberg Television at the UN General Assembly.
Thank you for this.
It's the UN General Assembly that you have world leaders gathering here, but really this meeting is shaping up to have two focuses. One, of course, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but the implications of that, most notably energy security. And on Sunday, Chancellor Olaf Scholz is going to be making his way to Doha. They need more LNG. Are you planning to announce any contracts or a long-term deal with Germany this weekend?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here today. All of us, we are watching what's happening here this year in the UN General Assembly, and we see the consequences of what's happened with the Russia-Ukrainian war and what's happening around the world and the economic situation. Energy poverty is one of the issues that needed to be addressed. Of course, the food security and other issues as well. We have to highlight first that the energy poverty is not only a result of the Russian-Ukrainian war, but it's really beyond this underinvestment in the energy sector for a long time. Some policies that took place trying to stop investing in hydrocarbon or opening power generation using.
But it's exacerbated.
Right now, I think with the situation of the wars, it's just made it worse. As Qatar has been a reliable energy source for all our partners. We've been dealing with our partners in long-term contracts. There are negotiations that are taking place between Qatar Energy and commercial entities in Germany. The state of the negotiation is still ongoing. We don't know if they are going to reach a deal from now until a week or not. It's not clear yet, and this issue remains with them. As a policy of the state of Qatar, we are trying our best to help in providing Europe or countries in need of energy with whatever capacity we have.
When it comes to Germany, the reports are that it's with RWE and Uniper. How close to an agreement are we away from that?
Well, I cannot comment on the negotiations right now because it's ongoing between two commercial entities, and really it has nothing to do with the government at this stage. As a government, there is a general policy to try our best to help. But then the terms of the negotiations and the way the negotiations are conducted are totally independent from the government.
What are the issues? We heard that the German officials are saying that they've been a bit contentious. Is it because of long-term contracts?
Well, honestly, it's really a commercial deal and the commercial negotiations between those entities. I cannot comment on them, nor I'm aware about the dynamics of the negotiations and how they are ongoing. But I know that the practice of the state of Qatar and Qatar Energy and their contracts, mainly we are focusing on long-term contract because it's assure both the buyer and the supplier sustainability in the supply of energy.
So Germany would have to take a long-term contract?
I don't know if this is the term of the negotiations right now that they are discussing.
Tomorrow, Ibrahim Raisi is going to be speaking at the UN. You met with your Iranian counterpart, you met with Robert Malley. What are you hearing from Tehran? Is there going to be a deal?
Well, in the last couple of weeks, we are hearing some statements which are not so optimistic about reaching a deal. We are talking to all the parties and we are trying our best to play a constructive role in this negotiation. All the parties that we have engaged with in the past few days, actually, we heard positive intentions from them. They want to enter a deal. They didn't reach yet an agreement, and I believe that when the parties get together and they can find a common ground for these areas of disagreement, they can reach a deal. Qatar believes in the importance of having this deal back because it should address the concerns of everyone, and we think that will just, it will stabilize the region. And for us,
we've heard this for a year. We've heard this for a year. These prolonged talks. Do you think Iran really wants a deal? They just want to prolong the status quo.
What I'm sure the Iranian foreign minister can answer you much better than me. What we are hearing from them, they want to have a deal. They have some concerns that needed to be addressed, and and this has been taking place throughout the negotiations. What we believe is important is to have a deal in place, to have a nuclear-free region, and we don't want to see an arms race happening in the region. The absence of the deal is just making the region more dangerous place, and this is something that Qatar doesn't want to see.
I'd be remiss not to ask you about what's going on the ground today in Iran. There are deadly protests as a public backlash over the killing of this 22-year-old who was detained by this quote-unquote morality police because of her headscarf. You are Iran's closest ally in the region. Do you have a message to them about these mandatory hijab laws?
Well, first of all, we are opposing using violence by security forces against any civilian, whether a woman or a man. This remains a domestic issue. We normally don't interfere in domestic issues with countries. Our relation with Iran based on a good neighborhood and we should coexist and live together. And we are trying our best to use this relationship in favor of the stability of the region and the security of the region.
When you looking at the region and also the communication between the United States and your region, you've been this interlocutor with Afghanistan. Most recently, for a prisoner swap, Secretary Blinken was saying you were a key source for that. Qatar is also still has Afghan refugees they are dealing with in terms of trying to facilitate their transfer to the United States. What is the state of play? How many Afghans are still left in Doha?
The evacuation is still ongoing. We are proud that we've been able to help and facilitate for evacuating more than 80,000 Afghan. Right now there are a few thousands, around 3,000. They are still in Doha, but the evacuation process is ongoing, and still there are people who... There is no specific timeline for the evacuation to stop in itself, and also those evacuees who are waiting to be processed, there is a timeline that we are dealing with each government who is going to receive them. We believe that instead of focusing only on the evacuation and really addressing the consequences of what happened in Afghanistan, go and address the root causes and what happened, and we try to resolve this deterioration that happened in the situation in Afghanistan, whether the humanitarian situation or the economic situation over there. We believe the international community should come together and should put the series of conditions that needed to be complied with by the current Afghan leadership in order to be able to deal with them and to have a clear way forward for that.
Sheikh Mohammed, thank you so much for your time. Romain, that was Qatar's Foreign Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, and he has a big meeting coming up this weekend in Doha with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz as they try to ink an LNG deal.